Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth,
And I'm Coach Victoria.
and in this video we're going to be talking to you about my ex didn't choose me.
We're going to get into it, but before we do, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching, so if you would like to talk about your situation one-on-one with one of us, you can do so by heading to the website and booking from there.
Absolutely. You know, one of the most painful feelings when you're going through a breakup is feeling like you weren't good enough, your ex chose someone else, or that they chose not to be with you anymore, and it feels so deeply painful to our core that it's like it feels like maybe there's something wrong with us, or we're less than someone else, right? That they chose someone else.
Yeah, and it's an extreme rejection when it's somebody that you've been so vulnerable with. Maybe you've been with this person for several years. Maybe they know you better than most people or better than anybody at all.
Yeah,
So to be rejected by somebody that close really hurts.
absolutely. And so we're going to talk about this today because that feeling of rejection is so incredibly painful and in a way traumatizing,
Oh, yeah. It
right?
definitely can be.
Especially if we feel like they're choosing someone else over us. Then it's even like worse.
Yeah, we can often feel disregarded, maybe even discarded. I know that's a strong word, but that is how people feel sometimes, especially when you feel replaced by someone else.
I talked about feeling like I had a dream where with the Applebee's girl that I felt that it was like we were in a car accident and we both got thrown out of the car. Or at least I was thrown out of the car, and she left with the guy who was in the back of the ambulance. Right?
God.
And I was like lying on the street. That was what it felt like to
Was
be.
your unconscious?
Yeah, it was so painful. You wake up with that memory, that dream. You don't forget it.
Yeah, sometimes dreams can be so odd,
Yeah.
the way they show up. But we all do have this desire to be chosen. And sometimes when we're going through a breakup, we start to think, am I selfish for wanting my ex back? Is that outrageous of me? But no, it's completely natural and normal to want to be chosen, to want to be selected. And attention in general, I think, gets a really bad rap. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, you're just looking for attention. Oh, you just want your ex's attention. Attention is also something that's natural and normal and healthy, and I would even argue that it's a human need. You know, it's a social need to feel connected to others, to have somebody else's attention, to feel seen, to feel heard by other people. Yes, there can be extremes, right? Everything in moderation and to be able to have some balance in life. But attention is important. So this applied to a breakup can get really tricky because your ex has now decided to leave the relationship. They are essentially saying, I have no more attention for you. I don't want to give you this kind of attention. You know, the romantic part of our relationship is done. But it's important to not feel shame for wanting to feel chosen and for battling with these feelings even after a breakup.
Yeah, it's a lot, you know, because it's like when we first get into that relationship, you feel so good, like this person wants to be with me, and there's probably a lot of qualities that you liked about this person. There was, you know, maybe you find them very attractive or funny, or I don't know, they had qualities that you were really drawn to, and so it felt great to have a connection with somebody that felt maybe unique or special, or a bond that felt so strong. And so feeling like they chose to be with you feels really good, and it makes you feel like a priority. It makes you feel cared about. You're now kind of merging lives with somebody else, and families and friends, and incorporating those things together. And it's a really nice feeling to add other people in your life that you really enjoy, especially if you do get along with their family and friends, you know? And so you feel like they're kind of all incorporating you and caring about you and choosing you too.
Yeah, and it can be hard because when a relationship ends, then it's almost like all of those contracts end too. You're typically expected in a relationship to care for your partner, so once it's done, it can really hit your self-esteem. It can really be difficult to swallow. And no wonder our minds tend to hyper-focus on our ex and wanting to be chosen by them because our brains are trying to convince ourselves that we are valuable, that we're worthwhile if we get chosen by them. We want to prove that we're lovable by getting the person who is breaking up with us to change their mind, to choose us again if we're able to get them back.
We feel like less.
Yeah.
Like we don't feel good enough anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we can also hyper-focus our attention to our partner and want to be chosen by them specifically because of attachment, something we talk about all the time, but also the biological component.
Sure.
Wanting to feel safe and connected. We are hardwired to be social creatures. We are hardwired for connection. And so when that connection breaks, we talk about that primal panic that sets in, that tells us we're going to die, we're going to lose our life, because back in, the hunter-gatherer days when we're, fighting off woolly mammoths, whatever it might be, we needed a community to be able to survive, to be able to protect each other.
Yep.
So it can be so strange. You can be going through a breakup and you might have, a million suitors knocking at your door, but you don't care about any of them. You want to be chosen specifically by your ex.
And it's I think it's easier for women online, like with social media. They post a picture out in a black pretty dress and they get 20 dudes that are messaging them with interest immediately. And of course they're like, I don't care about that all those guys. But it is nice to know you have those options. Men don't get that luxury. Sadly.
It depends on the audience, right?
Sadly.
So it can be even harder, Craig had mentioned this earlier, when your ex starts to date someone new, because then you start to compare yourself to who that person is. And sometimes you don't have any information about who that person might be. You just know that your ex is dating someone else. Maybe you hear it from word of mouth, whatever. But we start to create ideas of who that person could be, how they're better than us, how they're funnier, more attractive, all of these things. So it can really take a huge toll on our self-esteem.
Yeah. And you're going to immediately compare any little thing. Yeah. Oh, he's older. Oh, he looks like Beaky Buzzard. I may have done that. Which he did, by the way. You've seen pictures.
I have. One thing I do say, especially, I know I'll say for women in general, this can be something that's tough, because you tend to wonder, oh my gosh, is this person more beautiful than I am? Are they more attractive than I am?
Yeah.
And one thing that I say across the board to a lot of my clients is you don't have to tear someone else down for you to be confident in yourself. And that can be something that's so hard when you're going through a breakup, because it hurts at your ego. It hurts at your self-esteem. So it might be easy to say, oh, that person, looks like this, or that. It could be with anything. It could be applied to, their career. It could be applied to anything at all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great point.
You don't have to tear someone else down for you to be confident and okay with yourself. And true confidence is not having to compare. It's saying, I like who I am, regardless of who's around. It's a hard ideal to get to, and I know we all do struggle. We're all human, but it's something to remember when you're going through the process, because I see a lot of people bashing their ex's new partner. It's fine to have a little bit of fun here and there, but just be careful.
I'm still going to call him Beaky Buzzard, though.
All right. Okay. So this type of thinking, Craig doesn't care. This can be a difficult...
I've processed. He's still Beaky Buzzard.
This can be a difficult process to break out of, and a difficult pattern to break. Just this hyper focus on your ex and wanting to be chosen by them. But it is possible. And the cheesy thing that you probably expected us to say from the beginning of this video is to choose yourself and be intentional about choosing yourself. So often we change ourselves so that our ex will choose us. Well, if I do this, or if I do that, or if I get into, martial arts or ballet, or if I, do my hair a certain way, then my ex will take me back.
Yeah.
Start to think about what you want. Start to think about what your life is like, things that make you happy, your desires, your goals, where you want to be. And this is something that's tough, because especially if you've been with a partner for several years, sometimes you've contorted your whole life around them and say, well, I never painted my nails the color purple because they didn't like that color. I always painted them red because my partner liked my nails red, or whatever it might be. I only ever cooked my wife steak in a certain way because that's the way that she liked it, but I hated it well done.
Or go to the restaurant that they didn't like to go to.
Exactly.
Then you see them there on a date. What?
So start to think about the things that bring you enjoyment, and this is a difficult shift to happen after a breakup, but it's possible, and something that can help you heal from this pattern of, obsessively wanting to be chosen by an ex.
Yep. But it's normal. I mean, who wouldn't feel like that? It's very painful to think they're choosing someone else. Feels like it's just an ultimate rejection.
It does. It does.
I suppose it might be worse for somebody that grew up with siblings if they felt like they had a parent that loved the siblings more too. That, it's bringing up that old wound.
Yeah, that definitely could be a dynamic there. That definitely could be. And so with this, you want to be a little bit selfish. Now is your time to be selfish. You're an adult. You're not a child with competing with your siblings anymore for your parents' affection or love. Maybe you are. I don't know. But you're in a different
They
situation.
went out to and adopted another child just to make it difficult.
Oh, no.
We don't like your efforts lately. We're going to adopt another kid
Oh, no.
just to see if you step up your game.
So there's a lot of different dynamics that can happen. Another thing that can help with this obsessive feeling of wanting to be chosen by your partner is to spend time with other people to start to see their value again. And I know this kind of sounds a little sad, but when we're going through a breakup, sometimes we don't even care that our family or friends love us, and that can be something that's really sad because we just want to spend time with this one person. We just want to hear from this one person. We'll hear a ding. We'll be like, oh, it's just, my mom telling me she loves me again. Ugh. So that can be kind of our mental attitude. And it's not that we have bad intentions with it. It's just that that's where our hyper focus is. That's how our brains function. We're trying to connect for our safety and for our security.
Yep.
But being able to spend time with the people we love and make that intentional can start to, increase their value again in our lives. We start to see it again. I remember through a really difficult breakup that I had a friend of mine who was, talking me through it, and she would say, talk to your mom. Have you talked to your mom about this? Call your mom. I was overseas at the time. It was that breakup. And so she would, continuously say this. And I was like, fine, I'll call my mom. And so that actually helped my relationship with my family a lot. Now, we're not saying get advice from friends and family because it's not always the best, but remember to connect with the people
Send
around
him a
you.
handwritten letter.
No, she would never say that. She'd probably say some old Italian wisdom.
Beat him with the wooden spoon.
It works every time.
He comes back, he's afraid. How does your mom talk again? Can you do the voice?
She has a cute accent.
Can you do it?
I can't.
Come on, give him a little
unique.
taste.
It's super unique. And
it's thick. I've heard her talk before.
Yeah, she's definitely Italian. Italian as it gets. So these are some things that can help. And it can kind of, break away from your pattern of just wanting approval and acceptance from your ex and wanting that approval and acceptance from other people too, which isn't a bad thing. I know we talk about having that intrinsic value. There's a lot of focus on love yourself, love yourself. It's okay to want approval from others too. That's natural and normal and human.
Can we get your mom to do a short?
Oh, that would be sweet. I'm sure she would love it. She says that she watches the channel now and again.
Really?
Yeah.
Write her up a few things and then let her do a short.
Oh, that would be sweet.
Make sure she has a wooden spoon in there.
Okay.
Don't write the handwritten letter. And I come to your house and I whack you.
There's going to be red sauce on it still.
Go to therapy. Very helpful.
Yes.
As you can tell, Victoria needs a lot of it.
That transition, just go to therapy.
I've been to a lot of it myself, also coming from an Italian mother. Work on your self-esteem. We know that when you're going through it, it just feels so awful. You just feel so terrible about yourself because the one person you want to be with doesn't want to be with you.
Yeah.
And it's a normal feeling. I think most people experience that same feeling. Try not to take it personal. Try to consider all the things that we've talked about in this video. Focus on your strengths and keep focusing on who you want to become because of this breakup.
Exactly. And like I'd said earlier, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. It's okay to brag to yourself about yourself.
Yeah.
Our self-talk really does a lot to our mind, does a lot to our self-perception. So this is a good time if you find yourself wanting to be chosen to really think about the ways that you're talking to yourself.
Absolutely. And Margaret covered that quite often. All right. So, and I think we talk about that in the creative healing course too.
Yeah,
we have
definitely.
9 or 10 different affirmations with me or Margaret or Victoria to help you get to a better place when you're struggling. All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat, and I do not endorse the wooden spoon technique. Just want to say that.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. We don't have any coaching available with your mom.
Not yet.
We might consider it.
It will be Italian cooking coaching.
Okay, that sounds good too. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.